three filmmakers with nothing in common. They thought they had it all figured out. They don't just follow the movies, they make them. Alexander Pavlak, Mario Silvas, and Jamal Alexander are the makers on film.
Yo.
Hello.
What herb?
How you doing?
Worse now that you're on the line.
I'm glad I could do that for you.
Cool. So what happened? You just get a blackout?
Yeah, like the whole neighborhood went dark for a minute, and then all the lights came back on, except for the one at our place.
Fucking course it is.
Yeah. So I'm actually in my neighbor's house right now since she's out of town. So
She just...
You have a key to your neighbor's house?
Yeah.
No.
Alex.
Why would I have it? I'm gonna have to edit this part out.
Okay, so while you're making a confession here, I'm gonna go grab a drink because it already seems like I'm gonna need one.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Okay, so I just told Mario this, but I'm probably gonna be pretty hammered as we're doing this. So if you want anything useful or intelligible, we probably want to knock this out in an hour.
If we ever wanted anything useful or intelligible, we wouldn't have invited you to the show.
Oh.
That's how to greet your buddy when he gets back after 3 weeks of absence. All right, I'm starting with this gin martini right now.
Hey, you know what? You set me up for that, so it's not me, it's you.
Having my first gin martini, and it friggin' sucks.
Yeah, is it the kind of gin that tastes like
ass water?
Well, it tastes like it's been, soaked in pine needles.
Oh my god!
What gin is it?
Yeah, what gin is it?
It just says made with extra dry gin and vermouth.
Oh, like a pre-mixed thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are pieces of shit anyway.
You got to go with like a really good gin, like New Amsterdam. That is the least pine needle-y tasting gin I've ever had.
It tastes like melted plastic. That's what it tastes like.
A really good mid-level gin is Sapphire.
Sapphire's not too bad, but that still has a strong pine taste to it.
If you make it dirty, you put a little bit extra olive juice in it, fucking beautiful.
I know a couple girls that can make it dirty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. That's the gross part.
By the way, why do you have an episode that's titled "And Then He'll Poo"?
Did you listen to the episode?
Not yet, no.
Well, listen to the episode and you'll find out.
Wait, which one was that?
What?
Oh, yes.
You remember now?
Yeah. It was awesome.
And then he'll poo.
Yeah. But
I can't remember what the last one we did was. Was that the Armageddon one you and I did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you had to go back home, right?
No, somebody came here to see me.
Okay. Because last I heard, you had to go home.
No. Somebody, I had family come and see me.
Oh, okay.
For family stuff. Well, stuff happened, and then now it's done. Okay.
Works for me. But everything's cool, right?
As cool as can be, I guess.
Because it seemed like quite the emergency.
It's as cool as can be, I guess.
Okay. Well, hopefully that'll get better for you.
Mm.
And how's life in Mario Land?
I can't complain. Mario Land's doing pretty good.
How's your girlfriend doing?
She's good.
Because last you said she was in the hospital.
Yeah, she nothing too big. It was just a scare, is all it was.
Mm.
So was a couple weeks to next month. Hopefully her surgery should be going through.
Okay.
But other than that, no, it's pretty easy. Oh.
So I mentioned to Mario last week, and I'll mention this to you, Jamal. I want to do like T-shirts for the show. I don't know how well you design or draw or whatever, but if you have any ideas, if you want to throw, something into the mix, by all means, put something together. That would be awesome.
I think we should just put the titles of each episode on there because somebody will buy a shirt that says "and then he'll poo."
I'd wear the shit out of that shirt.
Or F that noise.
Well, yes, we should totally F that noise.
And hang on. I know we've had a pretty dumb one.
My favorite.
He'll be the effing floor.
Was he'll be the effing floor.
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson is the boy band of the NFL.
See, now that one would make a good T-shirt.
That was a good one, yeah.
He can be the effing floor.
That one's not too bad.
Hang on. I'm looking through all our titles right now.
We haven't done too many ones like that.
You just... God damn it, there's a moth in my room.
I think that's it.
I think one was said for Leon the Professional.
No, it just says Leon and the Unprofessional. There,
yeah, I think one was suggested for that, but I didn't use it. I forgot.
Because you suck.
Okay.
Huh.
Only tits and clit, but,
So,
technically.
Robin Williams died a year ago.
Yeah.
A year ago today?
Go to CNN and click on the link for Sarah Michelle Gellar and her tribute to him. It's beautiful, and the line... No, because they were co-stars for a little bit.
Yeah. They were on,
okay.
Anger Management or something, weren't they? I forget what the name of the show was.
Yeah. By the way, it was a pretty good show. I loved it. Yeah, but they were on a thing where she played his daughter or whatever. Basically, it's the quote. She's finishing his quote and replying to his quote from Good Will Hunting, which is a badass quote. I just read it over again.
What's the quote?
Yeah.
Oh, here, I gotta go back to CNN.
Yeah, don't leave us hanging.
Oh, it's just a beautiful quote about leaving the world better than when you found it.
Well, I almost threw up.
For the quote?
No, I burped and then I burped and then I almost threw up.
That quote is so beautiful. I threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Let's see.
Don't make that the title of this week's.
Okay, Buffy stars tribute to Robin Williams, because Robbie Williams.
Oh, that's right, because they did that. It was a show together. It was like NBC or something like that.
Yeah, the Crazy Ones or something like that. I love that show, by the way. Okay, let's see. Good Will Hunting. Okay. Oh, no, it's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and she just requotes it to him. By the way, the tribute that they're doing is that they're going to find that bench he sat on in the movie Good Will Hunting, and they're just leaving stuff there and writing messages for him in Boston. Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Okay, the quote is, to laugh often and much, to win the respect of the intelligent people and the affection of the children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find beauty in others, to leave the world a little bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or redeemed social condition, to know that one life has breathed easier because you lived here. This is to have succeeded. And then Michelle Gellar just goes under that and goes, you succeeded, RW.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
The Crazy Ones is the name of their TV series. And not to undermine what Jamal just said in that beautiful sentiment, but there was a Christmas movie that Robin Williams was in right before he died called Merry Frigging Christmas.
I know. That keeps happening. Stars die, and then their last movie is like shit.
But his last movie is Absolutely Anything, which he did a voice for, and then before that was Night at the Museum, Secrets of the Tomb.
I almost wish that they had held on to that movie for another 2 years just to get rid of all the shitty ones, so he doesn't have to go out on such a bad note. It's still a bad note, but it's a better note than what he went out on.
Absolutely Anything?
Yeah, no, Night at the Museum.
No, but Absolutely Anything is a bad movie?
Absolutely Anything. I'm sure it went straight to DVD and therefore is a terrible movie.
Let me see. Oh, it has it's a Terry Jones, directed by Terry Jones, starring Simon Pegg and Kate Beckinsale, and I think Robin Williams plays the voice of the dog.
And again, my point made.
Terry Gilliam and John Cleese play extraterrestrials, which that actually might be good. Terry Jones, Eric God. Oh, they got all the Mighty Python players to do extraterrestrials.
Of course they did.
Oh, no, wait. Terry Jones, yeah, no, wait, I heard of this. This is actually supposed to be really good. This is not supposed to be. This is Simon Pegg going crazy, and that's why the dog talks to him. And then he starts seeing like aliens and stuff, and it's supposed to be ambiguous whether it's actually in his mind or actually really happening.
Hmm.
So that actually might be a good movie. I haven't seen it yet.
Absolutely anything.
Yeah. I was watching something on the Mighty Python guys because they were doing that thing in England, that reunion a couple years ago, which I had a digital copy of and then lost it when a hard drive that it was on broke.
Wait,
So I haven't seen it yet.
wait. When you say that all the guys from Monty Python, not including Tim Curry, right?
Tim Curry, was he ever in Mighty Python?
Tim Curry wasn't in Monty Python.
Oh wait, I'm trying. Oh wait, I'm thinking something else. Never mind.
No, yeah.
Wait, are you thinking of Rocky Horror Picture?
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that makes sense. No.
Yeah.
No, it's all the surviving members of the Mighty Python's Flying Circus troupe.
Okay. By the way, did you? The reason I asked about the Tim Curry thing is, do you guys know about his health scare?
No.
No.
Is he in bad health?
Very quietly, a few years ago, he had a major stroke.
I didn't know that.
Oh, no. I heard about that. Yeah.
And I noticed something. If you go onto his like IMDb or look up his filmography, all of it's voice work now. So I don't think he's able to actually get up and get around anymore.
No, but he has such a great voice that he
Yeah.
he can get away with that.
Yeah, he can make a full-on career just doing that instead of ever having. Like if somebody just shows up at his house to record stuff, that works.
Yeah.
Like his last live action role was in a movie was in 2010.
Hmm.
And...
Oh wow, he played Chancellor Palpatine in the Clone Wars. I did not know that.
What?
He played Chancellor Palpatine / Darth Sidious in Star Wars: The Clone Wars in the cartoon.
Oh,
Whoa.
the cartoon.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I thought you meant like the actual
No.
show.
No, that would have been cool, but no. You're right, he has done 2011, The Voyage of Young Dr. Dolittle, where he played Dr. Dolittle. That does not show as voice, but is that a cartoon? That is a cartoon, so yes, he did a voice there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said he had his stroke in 2012. The last thing he did live action seems to be a play.
Well, he's actually a really good theatrical actor too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how he got the role for Rocky Horror Picture Show, because it really was kind of done like a play.
Yeah.
My dad had a stroke too, so that kind of hit home for me when I read that.
Ouch.
How's your dad doing?
I'm doing better. Thank God for my mom. She's there every day, just kind of like helping him out with that.
Mm.
Good. Maybe your dad should get into voiceover work.
He has the voice for it. Picture my voice, but like a man.
Oh, we don't even have to make fun of you anymore. You're on autopilot right now.
That was the best fucking self-burn I've ever heard.
Yeah. Well, if I need to tear myself down to make my dad look better, then goddamn, I'm tearing myself down.
Okay. So speaking of father and sons, let's get on to today's main topic.
How the hell does that have anything to do with
Yeah,
father
I'm kind.
success?
No. Just listen. I'm kind of curious what his brain is kind of go through right now.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of a father-son relationship. You have something that came in, what was it, 1995, and you know, was mildly successful. It made its money back. It didn't really make anything more than that. And then
If it
later
doesn't
on,
make, I heard if it doesn't make 2.5 times or at least 2 times, it's not. It doesn't make its money back. Like
yeah,
it actually
Yeah,
loses money.
yeah,
yeah. It's
it
supposed to be
does.
three. It's supposed to be three times
Eh.
because what they don't tell you is that advertising is. So let's say a movie is
$1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah.
Mhm.
3/4 of that is going to go to advertising.
Well, no,
But
they
but
add
what
three
they
quarters of that to
right.
advertise it.
But that's what the thing. That's what they don't tell you is that say the movie is $1 million, it's actually a $2 million movie. So $1 million goes to the film, and then about another 3/4 of a million will go to advertising. And a lot of time, I mean, fucking Avatar. They what was the budget for Avatar? Like 250 mil.
Something like
Yeah,
that, yeah.
some insane number.
Okay, so 500 million was used in advertising for that movie.
No, 500 million would have been altogether.
No,
The budget of
the budget of the film was 250 million.
so
What
so
they didn't tell you
they
was
doubled the budget to advertise it?
yep,
Wow.
that's why that movie when that's why everybody knows about that movie.
Yeah.
That's why it I mean it was almost all simultaneous released at the same time everywhere
Yeah. Well,
because they needed to remake all of that money.
the original Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone was kind of like that. It was supposed to be a blockbuster, and they did put some serious money into advertising it.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do that so much with Dredd. It seems like with Dredd, and the weird thing is that the advertisement for Dredd actually made it look like it was a little boring, but it's not a boring movie at all.
It's a really good movie.
It captures your interest and it holds on to it from beginning to end. There's very little in that movie that you don't take note of.
Yeah.
And I actually rewatched both movies. I wanted to just watch Dredd because I didn't want to watch Judge Dredd, but Heather made me watch Judge Dredd.
Dude, Judge Dredd was amazing. Are you kidding me?
No, it really wasn't.
Dude, it was such a shitty 90s movie that it was so good.
Well, it was all the religious overtones, and I really, really noticed them this time around.
Yeah.
That the whole thing is just the head judge might as well have been named Joseph Smith because they just seem like Mormons to me. Like the whole goal of the judge is when he retires, he just goes out and takes the law to the lawless, which is, just knocking on people's doors. Have you heard the good news of the law? The only thing missing is the white shirt and tie
And the bike.
and the bicycle. But yeah, even when we see a statue of justice, it is not the typical statue of justice that we see, where she's just holding the scales. She was actually had her arms out in a crucifixion style manner with the scales in one hand.
Yeah.
And they said, at one point that's justice, and the copy that I was watching was a little dark, so I'm like, that's not justice, that's Jesus. Why are they saying it's justice? Oh, I see the scales. I see the blindness now. Because
And
it
I
didn't
think that was the beauty of it.
yeah, it didn't have the typical blindfold on. It looked like the eyes were actually like poked out or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, can you hit us any harder over the head with that?
I will give the original this because it's such like a campy 80s or 90s movie. What it has over Dread, which is I think the superior movie, but what it has over Dread, and I think it's the thing that really should be part of like a Judge Dredd movie, is that it's supposed to be a satire of like the justice system of today, and like how it's commentary on how just how like if you let it get a certain way, totalitarian governments come back into effect, and then the law overreaches or big government overreaches, and then you're giving up your rights and freedoms as time goes on, and Judge Dredd is just like that on steroids. It's
Yeah.
basically a parody of like real life in that form, because he's basically, we've anointed somebody judge, jury, and executioner in the future, because we're just either too lazy or too paranoid to actually like really have serious discussions about how bad the world is.
Right. And Dredd so ever so slightly just kind of hinted at that with there is some themes in there about, do the ends justify the means, and kind of how the judge system goes right to that line that they, especially Dredd himself, who sees everything in black and white, he's the true lawful neutral character.
Yeah.
That the law is by the letter. There's no intent. There's no mitigating circumstances. It's just the law. And there are times in there that the other character, who's a little bit more of the conscience, or the heart of the film, she hesitates, but he makes her do things. And then you see the repercussions of that later. So it ever so slightly hints on that. But the beauty part about Dredd is that they cut away all the fat. There was nothing in Dredd that shouldn't have been there. And they sacrifice some stuff, like, underlining political tones to it. But in the long run, they made a movie that, by all rights, should have been extremely successful, very entertaining, and should have been a sleeper hit of the summer. Unfortunately, they didn't advertise it correctly.
I think what ended up happening is they made a straight up action movie, a very good one, a very viscerally charged one too. I love the look and just like the visuals of this movie.
Hmm.
But I think adding that extra element, adding that humor and that satire to it, could have made it pop just a little bit more. But again, if those things exist there, they're incredibly subtle to the point where it's, like, I don't hear that in conversation about this movie. Like when my friends and I talk about it, that doesn't come up. Nobody brings up like the political undertones that you mentioned, or the how it's supposed to be a parody of, or a satire of today's, justice system, where black people are being shot dead in the streets, and it's this huge,
Black
like,
Lives Matter.
yes, Black Lives Matter. This huge thing today, and in this version of our future, it's commonplace and everyday.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said it ever so slightly hints to that. And the only place that it's really kind of obvious is there's this one scene where Judge Dredd kind of forces the rookie, Anderson, to shoot an assailant who basically his only crime is attempted murder on a judge. And he didn't really look like he was all that into killing them. He was just kind of, doing it because he would probably get killed otherwise.
Yeah,
So she kind of puts the gun to his head and pulls the trigger. He didn't even have a weapon in hand. She just straight up executed him. And then, like, maybe 30 seconds later, they wind up in his apartment. It's the apartment with the woman. And then Anderson's like, she has a child. We can't restrain her because, what if the child needs something, kind of a thing. And then right before she leaves, she sees a picture of the mother and the guy she just shot. And she turned and was going to apologize for that and tell her that her husband is now dead. And the woman was like, "Don't thank me, just get the hell out of here." And
yeah,
that's the only time it really kind of touched on it seriously. And, just if they would have replaced that hipster looking guy with a black dude, it would have been even more poignant, but they didn't. But
yeah.
that's really the only time that they ever addressed anything like that.
And whereas uh, Judge Dredd from 1995, I want to say, is the exact opposite, where we got the parody and the satire and none of the good action parts. But even the parody and the satire, they're just, I don't think that was done on purpose. I think it was a consequence of just how, cheesy and campy Judge Dredd was, which is fine. Judge Dredd was, like, I loved it as a kid growing up watching it.
Hmm.
It was a good movie to me. But now looking back and seeing and really learning about Judge Dredd and the comic books and stuff like that, I see where it really went wrong, and where, it could have been more than what it was.
Well, a lot of that in the 1995 version was because of Sylvester Stallone. He wanted it to be a comedy action film, whereas the director really wanted to do a dark and gritty more true to the comic book kind of thing. And Stallone came in not knowing anything about the character, or ever even hearing of the character before. And the thing that really tripped me out, I almost wish they could have gotten these people, but they wanted Joe Pesci to play the comic relief part, the part that Deuce Bigelow played.
Uh,
Rob Schneider.
Schneider, yes.
Rob Schneider, yeah.
The stapler.
Whose character actually is supposed to be an underworld kingpin kind of character, and they reduced him to comic relief. So it was supposed to be Joe Pesci in that role, and then they wanted Christopher Walken to play Rico.
What did they want for Dredd?
They wanted Stallone for Dredd.
Okay.
But that was the cast that they originally wanted. And Stallone came in and started demanding more comedy in it, and he even went out after Joe Pesci refused to do the role. He went out and he asked Rob Schneider. It was Stallone who asked Rob Schneider, not the director, not the casting guys or anything. So, he was making it more comedic. And it got to the point where the director said that he will never work with another big name star again because of the hassle that Stallone put him through.
It bears pointing out, and I love Sylvester Stallone. He's an icon for me. I mean, he's definitely the face of the '80s for me. And I'm a big action movie fan, so I love him. But he turned into a vanity project.
He was one of the biggest stars by this point, and so he felt that anything he said. Oh, apparently he was on an episode of CSI. Anything that he's. Oh no, wait! It's the director who directed an episode of CSI. Sorry, but at that point, Sylvester Stallone was a big star, and he got used to people doing what he wanted. Plus, he was pretty famous for being a writer, director, actor anyway, and so he thought his ideas were better than the director's, which is a little sad. But it's kind of Tyler Perry, for some reason, was in the reboot of the Star Trek series.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the story goes that he was doing his lines and he was talking to Chris Pine, acting with Chris Pine during a take, and Tyler Perry screwed up his line and he yells out "cut," and then he realizes he's not the director of this, and he apologizes profusely to J.J. Abrams, saying, sorry, I'm just used to directing my own stuff. It won't happen again, kind of a thing. But to a much larger scale, that's kind of how Stallone must be on set, especially in this time period. Is that he got so used to being the guy in charge that when somebody else is in charge, he can't just sit back and just be the actor.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad.
That just gives me a little bit more respect for Tyler Perry, for him to actually go, oh, my bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at Tyler Perry's body of work, most of it is the Medina movies. That since he's doing those, hopefully he has a really good sense of humor about them, because they're comedies. They're well received, and I'm sure they make.
Are they well received?
Not really. Well, they're well received by one segment of the community.
They must be well received because he keeps making movies. They wouldn't be giving him money to make Medina movies if they weren't well received. I mean, he's got to be. Yeah, he's got to be at least making his money back and a little bit of profit. They're not really advertised that much, so.
Man, the man's worth $400 million. I'm sure he's making a profit off of them.
There you go.
Yes, I watched the first Medea movie, and well, let me say this: I saw 20 minutes of the first Medea movie. That was it.
If it's not British or Canadian actors in drag, then it doesn't really appeal to me.
Yeah. Or Eddie Murphy.
No, I'm going to stick with my guns with British.
Really?
Yeah. And that's just Monty Python and Kids in the Hall. Those are the only demographic of comedians that I've ever seen to do drag, to do it hilariously. I mean, I've seen Martin Lawrence do it on his show, and I wasn't impressed. And I mean, I haven't really sat down and watched a Medea movie, but there's nothing there that interests me. Now, like Tyler Perry's Alex Cross movie, I kind of want to see.
I've seen it.
Is it any good? Is it better or worse than the performance that Morgan Freeman gave?
Nothing is going to be better than his version of Alex Cross. But it didn't hit the notes for me, especially because there was parts in there where I felt like Tyler Perry must have thought he was on stage again because he was stage acting, but it felt like there were certain elements of that character. For instance, the fact that he's a psychologist and that he has to diagnose people
Yeah.
that felt incredibly forced, and because they forced it on screen, just came out incredibly insincere and just not a great acting moment for him. But uh, if they wanted to turn Alex Cross into an action hero, then I guess they kind of got halfway there with it.
With Medea.
Yeah.
See, now they should have turned Alex Cross into a cross dresser, and then had him at the very end be in the Medea outfit.
And this is why you've yet to produce your first film for Hollywood, because of ideas like that.
See, I don't want to do that on my film. I would just go up to Tyler Perry and be all like, you know what you should do? I'll just think about this for a minute. And either he would laugh at that and be all like, oh, that's funny, or he'd be all like Marky Mark and be all like, get the fuck off my plane.
He'd just be like, "Shut up! I make more money than you," and just walk away.
Well,
Okay, about Dredd.
Hey, this is about Dredd.
About Dredd. Um, I, there's really good things about the second one though. The Dredd that came out with Carl Urban. For instance, let's tackle like the first big thing that upset a lot of people about the first Dredd with Stallone. The helmet came off.
oh yeah, that was a big thing. That proves how much Stallone didn't know about that character.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or it shows how much he needs to have his face on camera.
Well, that's why I said he turned into a vanity project.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very fabric of the Dredd character is that he's sort of this faceless force. Like he is justice, and
He is the law, and the law is the representation of that uniform.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so the helmet doesn't come off. There is no face we associated with it. We associate the uniform and the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes it a point to take off the helmet in the movie. So that for me that's a vanity project. Now in his defense, I will say this: before anybody had actually made that first Spider-Man movie, nobody was really. It was uncharted ground. Like, can you make a movie where you don't see the lead character's face for most of it? So I will give him that. There probably was concern like that, and I still would have advised against it, but I sort of understand where he's coming from with it.
Well, there's a couple of factors in that. One, how good is your actor? I mean, if you look at the two people who've played Dredd, you have Sylvester Stallone, who at best is a character actor. He's Sylvester Stallone pretending to be Judge Dredd. Where on the other hand, you have Carl Urban, and every time I see him in a movie, I forget it's fucking Carl Urban up there. I see the character. He is every bit, Bones on Star Trek. He is every bit that guy on Ghost Ship. He is every bit that guy on Riddick, The Chronicles of Riddick. He's every bit that guy on Doom. I mean, there's. It took me a while to realize that guy on Ghost Ship was that same guy in Doom. And I felt like a conspiracy theorist, like hunting through shit on the internet, trying to piece it all together. Like, oh my God, it's the same guy. It's like he is so good at what he does, and he immerses himself in that character that it's the character that comes through and not the actor. Whereas Sylvester Stallone is the complete opposite. And that's why he took off the helmet, because he can't act through it. Because he has to be Sylvester Stallone. Everybody has to see that. And Carl Urban, when you see him in that helmet and he has that permanent bitch face thing going on with his mouth, that frown that you don't ever see him actually have, he's fucking Judge Dredd. You don't deny that fact.
That's the expression that the comic books always draw on with his chin. Like he's always mad at something, and props to Carl Urban for actually going to the comics and reading it and picking up stuff like that.
Apparently, he was actually a big fan of the comic well before they ever asked him to do a movie. He read it as a kid.
Yeah, he approached them when he heard they were making the movie.
Yeah, and there was one thing that I ever saw Carl Urban in that I didn't like him in, and that was that TV show that he was doing, Man and Machine, I think it was called. And it wasn't that I didn't like him in it, although he seemed a little cliche as far as the cop character went. It's just it wasn't the best project for him. But other than that, everything that he does, I don't see him in it. I see the character. And that's really the sign of a good actor, is when you forget who that actor is.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you think of the aesthetic changes, the visuals that changed between the two movies?
You got anything to say, Mario, about that?
I'm listening to you guys right now.
Okay. Um, I I actually enjoyed their use of slow motion in Dredd.
I thought that was too much.
It was motivated though. Like 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 you see a Michael Bay movie and he uses a lot of slow motion, and you notice it after a while because that's all he does. But in this movie, it was motivated because it was the effects that the drug has on the human mind. It slows down. I, I think it would actually speed up the human
Well,
mind
it sped
to
up
make
the
it look.
human mind. That's why everything looked slow.
Yeah,
I
but
thought they did way too fucking much. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand where they're getting at, but so I originally saw the movie in the theaters in 3D.
I'm a little jealous of that. I wish I could have seen it in 3D.
It was actually pretty cool. I was high out of my mind too, but I mean, it was pretty cool.
Was that on the list?
No, fuck, that wasn't no.
No. Okay,
Um,
I'll add it.
yeah, I'll have to redo that. And then I rewatched the movie this past week, and while I was watching it in the theaters, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I get it. It's like you said, it was it was the drug. So you're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking blast through this wall. Boom, 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 goes through the wall, and the fucking apartment scene when they're in the interior apartment complex, everything's made out of concrete.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic shoot 'em up scene. I love that scene. But then when I rewatched the movie this past week, honestly, because there was like maybe 10 to 15 um, slow mo shots throughout that entire thing, it it got old really fast for me. I thought it was honestly, it seemed like they were trying to eat up time, and that was the only way that they can do it. Is that they understood this film could not, it couldn't eat up the full 90 minutes. So what did they do? Is they took 30 minutes of that time and they made it all slow motion. That's what it really felt like to me after a while. I don't know, but I mean, maybe I'm the only one that's thinking of that. But I mean, it seemed like they were abusing it after the fourth or fifth time.
To me, though, like I said, it seemed very motivated. It seemed very logical, and they did in that first scene that you're talking about. They did a nice juxtaposition of Dredd, and his point of view almost seemed like it was sped up. That he's just in there frantically shooting, and then it goes to somebody else's point of view, and you just see the bullets going like right through somebody. Or you see the ripples going, you know, through the body after he shoots somebody. And I thought it was almost,
Which again looks cool, and we all get it after honestly after the third time when all those things were happening, because they looked phenomenal.
mhm.
But after a while, it's just like, okay, we get it. We don't need these shooting scenes all over again to just show off, and that's
Well,
all it seemed like.
they they do that? Do they do a lot of them? Because I remember like maybe three,
No,
maybe.
there was like all right, maybe 15 is an exaggeration, but there was like 4 to 5,
Was there? Okay.
and they were long.
They were long. I will give you that they did um that they were massive sequences that they were doing.
Yeah, and like I said, the shoot 'em up one that they did um, in
In the beginning in the apartment.
the yeah, in the apartment complex, that was absolutely beautiful. That needed to be there.
Yeah.
That basically what it was is they set up this drug to hey kitten. They set up this drug to show off what it can and what it does, and they did that very well.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, okay, because I think it happened like four. I think there were like four slow mo scenes, but they were like 3 minutes long because it was like gun or it was like trigger pull, slide goes back on the gun, bullet gets fired, and then the casing comes flipping out of the gun, and then you see it hit the ground, and then you see more shells getting ejected, and then it's just close-ups of the bullets impacting on the wall, and it's just over and over and over and over again. Because I honestly remember one of the scenes. That's all that shot was. It was just showing off that gun over and over, and then
Yeah.
showing off what it hit over and over. And again, personally, I was like, that I get it, cool, you're shooting. But it seemed like all they were trying to do. Anyway, so they showed it off very well the first two times, and then after that, it was just. It seemed like they were catering to that 13 and 14-year-old boy. This is the perfect example. Have you guys seen the Tomb Raider movie? The one
first one?
with, yeah, the one with Angelina Jolie.
Uh-huh.
A long time ago.
Exactly. What was your impression when you first saw that, Jamaal? Legitimately, no, not thinking about it now, but when you saw that, when you were like, what?
Well, no,
Maybe
my
12?
my first impression of this was, wow, that looks, because she's running on the ceiling and stuff. I'm like, she's hot and all, and there's guns and all that, but
Right. So what was your first impression?
yeah, it looked cool, looked fake and cool.
Okay. Alex?
Honestly, my first impression was, why does Hollywood always have to change the outfit to all black?
Fair enough.
I like the original, brown shorts. What is it, green tank top?
No, that was the second movie. In the first movie, she had the
No,
Tomb Raider thing. Yes, she did.
it was black shorts, black tank top. In that very first scene that you see her in when she's fighting against the robot, it's black shirt, black tank top.
Oh, okay, in the very first one, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the very first thing. I thought, the special effects are kind of cool. The robot, her hanging upside down. But then I saw the outfit. And I'm like, how hard would it be to just get brown shorts and a fucking tank top? White or green, whichever color it's supposed to be.
Fair enough. So Alex is not the person I'm trying to talk about right now.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that's what Dredd was to me. Is that the first time I saw it, it was the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen in the world. Being high aside, I thought it was the greatest fucking thing I'd ever seen in my life. And then when I rewatched it, and I rewatched Tomb Raider as well, not recent or not this week, but within the past year, I rewatched Tomb Raider. And after I rewatched Dredd, that's what those scenes seemed like to me. They were Angelina Jolie jumping around half naked because they could. That's what the slow-mo scenes were like to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Valid point.
So you're saying that the movie doesn't hold up after repeated viewings?
No. For me, it didn't personally.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw the movie 3 times. First time in the theaters. I watched it again last week, and then I rewatched it again yesterday night. Still, it wasn't a movie that it wasn't a movie that I'd go out of my way to watch again. If I'm high on a Sunday and the remote is just out of reach, I'll watch it. But other than that,
By the way, bear in mind that like an alternate title for this movie is Dredd 3D. So all that slow mo stuff was meant for a theater experience.
Exactly, and I think that's what I've really had the big issue with. The same thing with like the new what was that? It was the Brendan Fraser movie where they go under.
Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Journey to the Center of the Earth. I have no idea how you got that from my shitty explanation, but thank you.
No problem.
but I watched that movie in 2D, and I watched it in 3D later, and it's a piece of shit movie in 2D.
Yeah.
Watching it in 3D, it was entertaining, at least.
Well, maybe that's my benefit because I've never actually seen Dredd in 3D. And so the only thing I have to go on is, my TV screen because that's the only thing I've ever actually seen it on. So to me, everything looked cool, and I think it has rewatchability. I think
I
that
got you.
outside of whether the slow-mo or not is excessive, I think the plot and the action and the character interaction, because there's not too much character growth in this, unfortunately, but the character interaction I think is enough to compensate, not overcompensate, but compensate for the excessive of the slow motion.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, I understand it, and I personally don't care for it.
Hmm.
But no, I get what you're getting at. Because the slow motion, yes, it was used for that purpose itself.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean, and you know what it really was? It was the perfect combination between slow mo usage and 3D. It was the perfect explanation for those two right there.
yeah.
But it was too much. And I think what it really was, it was the length of those scenes themselves. That's what killed it for me.
Okay, I can see that. And I could see how, like, if you saw that first in 3D and how spectacular that was, then having to see it in 2D again, you can I could see how you would get bored of it because you don't have all of the stimuli going for you.
Yeah, the bullets weren't coming directly at me.
Mm. The blood and the glass wasn't right there in front of you, like you could
Yeah,
pull it out of screen. No, I feel that way, and I kind of feel that way about Avatar because I did see Avatar. I actually saw it 2 times in the theater, once sober, once high.
yeah.
And that the high one was a mistake because I just ended up spending $50 on snacks and then falling asleep. So,
Yeah.
but I saw it both times in 3D, and the 3D is pretty amazing. I actually, when I was high before I had passed out, I felt my hand going up trying to pick leaves out of the air as they fell.
You know
So
what? I did that too. The first time I saw it, I was on mushrooms. The second time I saw it, I was high. Third time I saw it, I was sober. So let me talk about the sober time.
okay,
Sober time, I went to go see it. I saw all three in 3D because I really enjoyed it the first time. I enjoyed it the second time. I'm like, cool. If I enjoyed it both of those times, I wonder what the third will be like. So I watched it sober the third time. Mind you, all in the theater. And still, there were parts where exactly like you. Do you remember the scene where they're running, like the blue horses? I don't know how else to put it, but they were running it, and they're kicking up all that dirt, and there's that shot from behind.
yeah,
At one point in time, I legitimately swept at my shoulder because I thought dirt had hit me,
right.
and so just out of reflex, go to swat my shirt, and I stopped, and I looked at my hand, and my only thought was, God, you're stupid. But that 3D made that movie. I rewatched that film again in 2D.
I,
Oh, it was terrible.
yeah, you don't get that experience, do you?
No.
No, and I'm a little bit against 3D kind of for that because it ruins. Excuse me. It
No
ruins
excuse for you.
it ruins the rewatchability of the whole thing because I just so happen to have a 3D Blu-ray player, but I don't have a 3D TV, and I really have no plans on getting one. But it I there's no way I'm going to ever see, Dredd in 3D. There's no way I'm going to ever see, Jurassic Park in 3D or Star Wars in 3D because I don't see the need for the investment of a 3D TV. I don't see the need to make the movies in 3D. Like Christopher Nolan's Batman, and he was against doing it in 3D, is every bit as brilliant in 2D as it would be in 3D. I mean, the only
Yeah.
thing that 3D would have would be, shit coming at you. and it's not a necessary thing. I mean, this movie I would love to have seen in 3D. Avatar was good in 3D, and I hear Up was a really good movie done in 3D. But I don't
Damn, I missed that one in 3D.
Up and the other cartoon Megamind. And mostly they say Up is really good in 3D because they play with textures, and the textures like really pop, like the tweed of his jacket when they do close-ups of it, or like in Megamind where they have to do layers upon layers of faces for the crowd scenes. Because when it's in 3D, you can't skimp on those because you'll notice gaps and holes in the crowd. You have to
Yeah,
draw in every head, and it has to be three-dimensional. So when you talk about stuff like that, when they really use their depth of field, that's when 3D is really good. Unfortunately, most people use 3D as just shit coming at the screen,
yeah,
and that's how we've used it ever since, like, what was it, the 50s, the 60s, when we had the red blue
yeah. It was
3D
like
glasses.
60, 70s.
Yeah, exactly. And like the 60s did that. We did a little bit of that in the 80s. I think one of the Friday the 13th were in 3D with that. And all it was just shit coming at the screen, a knife, a head, blood, whatever. And
Hmm.
most people, that's all they know. So when they do a 3D movie, that's all they do. So it's like, to see Star Wars redone in 3D might be interesting, just to see things pop like that. But it wasn't made for 3D, so you don't need that. But on the other hand, things that are made for 3D are gimmicky. There's very few things that actually have depth to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a drink.
Okay.
My girl brought beer burritos over, so I want to have one.
Oh, nice. Were we talking about that a couple episodes ago?
Yeah, I think we were, and I thought they were disgusting.
But they're the only alcohol within reach right now, aren't they?
Uh, yeah, because it's either that or yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna get it. I just got like the Sam Adams 24 pack of like seasonal beers.
I'm not
I
a
think I'm
big
gonna.
I'm not a big fan of the seasonal beers. I'm not a big fan of beers that taste like things other than beer.
Honestly, I had one of their. It's their cream stout. I'm a big fan of stouts anyway,
Okay.
and their cream one, fucking phenomenal. It almost tastes like a coffee stout, and it's like a coffee stout, but it has like the cream soda aftertaste to it.
Right.
So it's really good. Anyhow, hold on. I'm gonna go get alcohol real quick,
Right on.
and then
While he's
maybe
gone, have you
and,
seen the trailer for
and
The
then touch
Revenant?
myself.
For the what?
The Revenant.
No, I have
Touch
not.
myself so hard.
Look at it while he's gone. It's amazing. Well, it's really cool. It's from the guy who did Birdman.
Oh, okay. Have you seen the trailer for Deadpool?
Yeah, I saw the bootleg version. Wasn't interested in seeing like the real version either.
Well, no, because they did a trailer at the beginning of Fantastic Four, but they did a teaser trailer for the trailer at the beginning of Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm. Teaser trailer for the teaser trailer.
Yes, exactly.
That well, don't get me wrong. This movie is already starting to seem really charming, but I already know it's not going to do well.
I don't know about that. It looks like Fox may have learned from their mistake and may have listened to the fans, and they may have done Deadpool correctly. And I will concede that Ryan Reynolds is probably a really good choice, if not the perfect choice for Deadpool.
No, he 100% is.
Yeah. So I think that if they market this correctly, it kind of sounds like they may be, that people will go see it. And my theory is, and it depends probably on how well this movie does, that at the very end of all of this, when they do stage 3 of Marvel movies, that Deadpool and Thanos will be the two that actually have to go at it and fight.
No,
One,
no, 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 not at all.
Why do you say that?
Because Fox owns the rights to all the X-Men characters, including Deadpool and.
Yeah, but Sony did own everything, or did own Spider-Man, and they finally relinquished it so Marvel can do him in the Avengers.
Yeah, they have absolute, and which, by the way, they have absolutely no. Fox has absolutely no interest to do. You know why? They still make money off of their movies.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, and it depends on how good this movie does and how much money Marvel will throw at it, is that I can see Thanos and Daredevil, or not Daredevil, Thanos and Deadpool going at it at the very end, being the two people who can fight each other, and I keep calling him Daredevil. Deadpool doing it just for the reason of Thanos being in love with Death, because Deadpool is also in love with Death, and I can see that just being a pissing contest as far as Deadpool is concerned. So he wouldn't do it for the fate of the world. He wouldn't do it for the ultimate power. He'd do it because somebody's looking at his chick.
No, that's a great idea. If you're asking me, there's like zero chance of that happening at all. I mean, they may get the rights for the Fantastic Four back, considering their movie did shitty at the theaters this week,
Did it?
like
Oh.
really bad. They projected like 40 million, which even then they were like going, yeah, that's a defeatist number, and we're willing to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And it did 26.
Really?
This movie is not gonna. I doubt it's gonna make anywhere near its 130 million budget back. This movie is like. I hope it is a nail in the Fox coffin for Fantastic Four, because I want it to revert back to Marvel so Disney can make the movie properly. We're never gonna get that with the X-Men properties, because for what I will, their saving grace is that when they first started the franchise, they went out and got an actual filmmaker. They got Bryan Singer to do it, and so there's always been a level of quality to those films, and
Yeah.
so they're still successful to this day.
Well, yeah, and excluding the Wolverine origin movies, the X-Men movies are actually very entertaining and very well done. Even
Yeah.
though Days of Future Past is a complete departure from the actual source material, it was still in the realm of the movie, very entertaining and very well done, and it kept your attention. And at parts there was parts I didn't really care that it depart from the comic book.
How is Days of Future Past a complete departure?
From the comic book?
Yeah.
Well, first off, it's not Wolverine who goes back in time. It's Kitty Pryde.
Right.
It's Jean Grey's daughter who puts Kitty Pryde back in time. The Sentinels.
Okay. I thought you were saying it was a completely meta story. No. I get that.
No,
They
it's a
took
little thing.
quite a few liberties. It's not a
Yeah.
complete like new story, but they took quite a few liberties in it.
Yeah, it kind of is because it's based around a completely different character. But yeah, there's elements that they kept and elements that they created for it,
Yeah.
and it's sad because the movies are doing the exact same thing that the comic book does. Is for Marvel, every time a comic book shows signs of the of dropping off in sales, they put the Wolverine in an issue, and then sales go back up. And that's what they're doing with the movies. Every time something happens, with one of the movies, if they could put Wolverine in the Avengers and in Spider-Man, they'd fucking do it. They would.
Uh, I think that would work only because of Hugh Jackman. People will pay money to see Hugh Jackman.
It's the character. People pay money to see the Wolverine. And yes, the fact that Hugh Jackman made the fact that Hugh Jackman made everybody forget that Wolverine is only supposed to be 5'5".
Yeah, 5'3" actually.
Yeah, exactly. So like everybody heard, oh, a 6'2" actor? No way, it's the fucking Wolverine. There's no way I'm going to buy that. And then you see the movie and you buy it and you're like, okay, that's the perfect.
Because Hugh Jackman is just an incredible actor.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think because they relied so heavily on that character in the initial 3 movies, and then he spun off into his own thing, he's kind of played out in my book.
But
like I've had enough of Wolverine, to be honest with you.
You may be the only person in the world who has ever said that, but
I've had enough of Wolverine.
no, Because, like I said,
By the way, you brought up earlier that the Wolverine movies weren't that great. I think that's the level of success that's going to happen with Deadpool. I mean, it's going to make a slight profit. It's going to make a profit, and it's going to be well liked, and maybe even go down as a cult following type movie. But it's not going to be. I don't see a franchise in the future for this.
you never know. I mean,
There won't be a franchise. However, they are going to add Deadpool to a lot of things.
Yes, I can see that happening.
Mm-hmm. Because they're trying to do a complete Marvel mash together.
yeah.
Deadpool they want to put into it.
Well, the thing is, if you go out into the real world and you go to like the stores or whatever, Deadpool is everywhere, and he has been for quite some time. For the past at least 3 years, you see Deadpool everything. Hats, backpacks, sweatshirts, hoodies, whatever it is. You can find a Deadpool something. Heather's son has a Deadpool wallet.
No, you're absolutely right. In fact, if you go to the if you read the actual Marvel comic books, they periodically go through these periods where every Marvel book that they print for a month has like a variant cover with Deadpool on it.
Yeah.
Because he apparently he's very popular among the writers over there. They just think he's a really funny character.
Well, the thing that I was going with is that they've been like introducing him to the public now for 3 years prior to this movie ever, before frame one of this movie was ever shot. So people are now interested in him. So I think that is going to factor in a lot into how well his movie does. A lot of it, of course, is going to be the story and word of mouth, but some of it is going to be people are like, oh, I've seen all this Deadpool stuff around. He must be somebody pretty important. It's Marvel. Marvel really can't do any wrong right now. Let's go see this movie.
Well, no, I'm glad you bring out word of mouth, and to specify for all you listeners at home, it's not actually Marvel, it's Fox doing it. Marvel just has a stake in what happens because it's their characters.
Mm-hmm.
But because of word of mouth, it got out there that Marvel does not like the idea that they don't own all the rights to their characters' movies.
Well, of course not, yeah.
And so they got rid of, like, for instance, they canceled the Fantastic Four comic book just to,
Thank Christ.
To spite and the movie and Fox, and to make sure it didn't get extra publicity. They can't do that with the X-Men books because they still make quite a bit of money, just the books themselves.
Yeah.
But I honestly think there's now a cap to just how successful X-Men movies can be. Just because I think people do really want to see, because Marvel does their movies so well. They took a character like Ant-Man, which, by the way, I love that movie to death. Have you guys seen it?
No. I have very little interest in seeing it. I'm not impressed with the character, even in the comic book.
Oh my god, you need to see it. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, he'll be in the Avengers, and that's probably be the first time I actually see him.
Wait, what movie?
Ant-Man.
Oh, I heard that movie is fantastic.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy, but intentionally funny and therefore amazing.
Yeah.
Michael Pena is awesome in it, by the way. Anyway, I think there's an actual cap to just how successful they are because word of mouth got out that Marvel wants their characters back, and people want to see Marvel actually get a hold of their characters again and do movies the way that people like, and that's the Marvel formula.
Well, eventually they will get those characters back, one way or the other. But I think the average moviegoer, like yes, there are the people who are really into the comic books, the people, because I hear like a lot of reviewers online will say the phrase, I have no idea who Deadpool is. I just know everybody was upset by the way he was portrayed in Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
So like.
Well, that wasn't Deadpool. That was the thing. In the Wolverine Origins, that was not Deadpool. That was referred to as Weapon 11. That was something that was... No, that wasn't Deadpool.
It was Wade, though. It was Wade Wilson, so...
It's implied it's Wade.
It's implied it's Wade, but there is nothing saying that was actually Deadpool. That's the thing that people don't realize. Is that, yes, it was Wade. Yes, it was, Ryan Reynolds' character. Whose name was Wade.
Yeah.
Cool. There's a large stipulation that was Deadpool.
But that's
what
my point.
They did to it, that was Weapon 11.
Did you guys see the multiple credit scenes for that movie, by the way.
Yeah.
There was an actual one where after Weapon 11's head is chopped off and it fell into the vat, you follow somebody's footsteps as they walk up to that head and pick it up, and it's Wade going, "Who the hell is this?"
Yeah, the mouth is split open and he picks up the head. Yeah. His body picks up the head. Yeah.
I
No,
never
no,
saw
no, no,
that.
no, 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 not the body. Like actual Wade Wilson, Ryan Reynolds, in actual like, he's there and you see his face and his head's attached and everything. He picks it up and go, "Who the hell is this guy?" Pointing at the head.
No, I didn't see that one.
No, I didn't see that one.
That
No.
that one that exists.
Okay. But Mario made my point exactly. The average moviegoer doesn't understand the politics of the Marvel universe. They don't understand that, Marvel doesn't own all of its movie rights for all of its properties. So when they see the Fantastic Four, when they see the X-Men, when they see the Avengers, that's all Marvel Comics. That's all they really know, so they're going to go see it. It's those few people who really are into comic books, who really know these characters, and who've read them well before they became movie franchises. Those are the people who really understand what's going on, and even to some extent maybe they don't even fully understand. It's the movie people who are like, oh, it's Fox, it's Paramount, it's Sony, it's whoever. So it's like, Marvel had to do what it had to do to survive, so it sold off movie rights to some of its properties. Now, since it has this huge influx of money and they really can't do any wrong, they're regretting that decision, so they're scrambling to get those properties back. And eventually they will, and hopefully they do, because they could probably make some really good movies. But on the other hand, sometimes they're a little bit too close. I like what Sony was doing with this new Spider-Man. Unfortunately, they're going to stop that. I was very interested in seeing the Fantastic Four movie, and it breaks my heart a little bit to hear that it's not as successful as it should be, or as it could be, and I will still see it, but now I'm gonna have that grain of salt to see it with.
Yeah.
See, I disagree about the average moviegoer, because every time in this the internet age that we live in, every time I actually pull up something about like an X-Men movie or the Marvel movies or whatever, they
Right.
make it a point to actually specify, hey, like they give you like the origin. Like every review I've read or watched is the same thing. Remember, like they make it a point to say, remember, this isn't Marvel doing it. This is Fox doing it. Marvel just has a piece of the pie. Like I think like word got out, and I think that, and I honestly believe that affected how successful the Fantastic Four movie was. Let
That
alone the fact that the movies, by the way, is getting like just slaughtered
Well, yeah.
by
But
the
see,
critics.
but to go along with that, you have to remember that people exactly don't realize that the Fantastic Four is owned by, or that Marvel is owned by, oh
Disney.
wait, yeah, Disney. Thank you. I was like, it's not fucking Fox. But they don't realize that. It's only certain people who understand that they were sold off, so it's no longer Marvel calling the shots. It's a different entity just playing under the Marvel name.
Well,
So in a basic,
That's
it,
where I disagree. I think you would be surprised, like if we actually did a poll or something like that. I happen to believe that more people would know that wouldn't, because for whatever reason, and then I don't know why they did this, when this started or when it became a thing, but every review or every like segment or every podcast or every some whatever or not that I listen to about these kinds of movies, they make it a point to specify that for some reason.
but you have to remember what you're listening to. You just said it right there. When you're listening to the podcasts about these people, fuck you.
Well, no. Like even in like I'll be watching Entertainment Tonight or something like that, and they'll make it a point to say that. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why is that such
Yeah,
an important thing?
but again, you have to remember that's the people that they're talking about it. But when you go to the random moviegoer, let's just say for an example, the 16-year-old, because that's who they're technically the 13 to 14-year-old males. That's who everybody tries to advertise to. Do you think that they care about the fact that Marvel was bought out by Disney?
No, but
Exactly.
by
Because
that
that's
same
who has the
token,
money right now.
but by that same token, I go to work, right, and I work with the like my coworkers, and we talk and whatever. None of them, by the way, seem like they're all that nerdy like I
Oh
am
no, no, no.
into comic books or whatever. And then this will come up in conversation, and I'm the same way you guys are. I'm like the average person doesn't know that, and then all of a sudden they're dropping all these facts on me. I'm like, where the hell did you learn all of that?
Are these all the coworkers who work in the movie and electronics section?
No,
Or
these are
the
like these are like people that like work in the back room or just don't do stuff like that. I go to fucking what do you call it? I have a like a game night where me and my friends get together and we play like
D
Heart and
and
whatever.
D, fucking nerd.
Yes, D&D actually.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, wait a minute, Mario. I've played D&D with you, so you have no room to talk.
I just can't
Damn, bro.
insult Jamal.
Damn, bro.
I haven't seen him, or I haven't heard from him in 2 weeks. I just can't insult
Anyway,
Jamal.
but no, there are people that are sitting there that I know for a fact are just there to bullshit and aren't really all that nerdy, and they're dropping that information on me too. So I no, at one point I did believe I was on definitely on your team about this, but lately I'm starting to get that they're a
How
little
old are
bit.
they? How old are they?
Uh,
He's 18, right?
let's see. The oldest one that shocked me was probably in his no. The oldest one that shocked me is probably in his 50s, and then the guy that works with me that just did it the other day. Because again, there's nothing about this dude that you would think screams like he knows anything like this. He's an impoverished boxer from a bad neighborhood and bad family.
Oh, he's the biggest nerd of them all.
I was gonna say
But,
he's a Daredevil fan.
No, no,
but
no.
no, no,
He
no.
he,
But
he
listen,
drops that on me, and I was kind of shocked too.
but listen. The thing is, movies aren't advertised toward them. To get the most money, to get everything out of that, movies are advertised to 12 to 14-year-old males. That's it.
Especially superhero movies.
Exactly.
I
So when they say no, I can disprove every single thing that you're going to say right now.
okay, go ahead.
But what movie theaters do, or not movie theaters, but what fucking production companies do, is they advertise to that demographic solely because they have the most disposable income because they have nothing to purchase at that point in time. However, they still want to do something different and they want something to escape, especially during the summer months. So what they do is they advertise to them. Perfect example was the Transformers movies. Those were loud, flashy explosion. There was a hot chick in it, and fucking robots. Cool. So they advertised exactly to who they wanted to. And you can go to any production company, you can go to any ad agency, and you can ask them, who are we advertising to? Unless it's like a super kitschy, like Vogue or something like that, then that's a different story. But for the most part, you're always advertising to preteen and early teen males.
I'll disagree with
So
that too.
you can all you want, but I'm right.
I I think their target demographic is between the ages of 18 and 45, because that's everybody's target demographic.
That's not true.
I
For
would look at
movie theaters, for everybody that's in within our industry, who has the most disposable income?
18 to 45-year-olds.
No, because they're always working. They always have something to do,
Why?
especially during the summer.
I just googled the 18 to 45. He goes, why advertisers mainly focus on the 18 to 40 or so demographic.
Okay, you can think that all you want.
Okay, I'm just saying they're the ones with the money, and uh,
Jamal,
I
let me put it this way.
okay.
Whenever I speak to producers, that is who they go to. Whenever I speak to the big producers, that is their target demographic. Is to younger boys because they're impressionable. Because when you make an impression on a 13-year-old boy now, when he does become that 18-year-old boy, he's brand loyal.
It's why those movies are PG-13 and not NC-17 or R.
Exactly. Because there are a lot of movies that should be R nowadays.
Honestly, I believe that the 18 to 45 demographic is the mid-chief thing here. I know you guys believe otherwise. What do you fans think? Please leave a comment.
They probably think, what happened to that really awesome conversation about Judge Dredd?
Yes.
It died a long time ago.
Well, no,
So
somebody went up to get a drink, and we got sidetracked with other movies.
we did get sidetracked with other movies.
So we're gonna go back to it, or are we gonna still?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, it's a strong beer. Yeah, I'm gonna burp again. Ugh. All right, we're good.
There, that was for you, Mario.
Jamal, your turn.
None of this drink is not making me want to
Come on, fake it. Just fake it till you make it.
burp.
That was a terrible fake.
What if you had the burp on camera for a role?
See,
What if you played a character that was just very gassy?
By the way, I'm still finding nothing but more information on the 18 to 45 males.
Anyway, Deadpool is going to be not to harp on that one, but that one's going to be the first
Rated R.
First Fox X-Men movie to be rated R. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
By the way, I still don't understand why that's such a big thing. You guys do realize that a couple of rated R movies have done super well. Like, I believe The Dark Knight was.
Yeah, but it's because most of if not all of the X-Men movies were like PG-13.
Yeah.
But it's because Daredevil is, or God, I keep doing that. It's because Deadpool is ultra violent.
Yeah.
A lot. He breaks the fourth wall. He really is the guy who doesn't care.
No, it's going to be a good example. A movie you guys wouldn't think was rated R, but did really well and is rated R. The first Pirates movie. For whatever reason, that movie was rated R.
Was it really?
Yeah. I don't know why. But that movie was rated R.
Yeah, I don't know why either. There wasn't like an excessive amount of violence or anything in it.
Right. But even then, my point is that was rated R for whatever reason, but Deadpool definitely deserves a rated R.
Totally.
Holy shit!
Like,
there's another Pirates coming out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dead Men Tell No Tales.
It's actually going to be vulgar.
Like wait, Deadpool, Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. That's the first one, right?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes.
That's PG-13, yo.
Hang on. One of them was rated R. They made it a point that
I think it was the third one.
They made it a point to say it because it was such this huge accomplishment. Like, I don't know why.
You do realize that the rating system is completely arbitrary and just based on the viewpoints of the person. Fuck off. The person. they're the viewpoints of whoever is watching that film at that time.
Right.
Okay. Shout out to Orlando Bloom.
That the rating system, like, some of the people are ultra conservative, ultra religious. Dude,
they're all PG-13.
Hang on, I'm looking it up right now.
But so am I.
Like, a lot of the ratings people don't like independent movies and will rate them harsher than they will mainstream movies, which probably means that they're getting some sort of kickback from production companies to rate mainstream movies less harsh. Also, they say that the people who are in charge have term limits and they're only supposed to be in charge for like 5 years to keep a rotation, but that's actually been proven to be false.
Holy shit, Javier Bardem is going to be the new one.
Okay,
yeah, no, I can see that.
You know what? They're all PG. They are PG-13, and they were making a big deal about PG-13 being so successful as it was. That's odd.
Well, yeah, because up until the 2005-ish year, everything was either PG, R, or PG-13, and it was specifically to those regions. I know it's kind of vague what I'm saying, but it's like R was specifically like horror, drama, and romance.
Yeah.
PG-13 was like the explosions, the fucking hot chick getting it on with the main character that like everybody, like all the kids identified with. The PG movies and the G movies were, well, you know, like the animated movies and shit. So Pirates of the Caribbean being a PG-13 movie, because it was advertised as a family movie.
Well, it's Disney.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they were saying it had to be a PG-13, because, I mean, there were like 10 people killed within the first 10 minutes of the first movie.
Yes, but there's no blood.
Which is why it's a PG-13 movie.
Do you realize that most of today's unrated DVD releases are just more blood and more gore? It's not it's, you know, the unrated version, which is like back in the day, which was supposed to be the director's cut. All that
more boobs.
It's not even more boobs.
It's not like, even tits.
It's more gore and more blood. That's all that it is. And they have to cut it down to get that PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
Two things I want to mention to you, Mario, because you were just looking up the next Pirates movie. The budget for that is insane right now.
What's it at?
250.
Jesus Christ.
Right? And yeah, I've heard some, like, Johnny Depp's life is falling apart as he's making this movie because he's just one shitty thing after another. I read about him.
Well, that's because he spends all his time making these shitty movies.
Yeah, like it's kind of sad to watch him spiral out of control the way he is.
Well, let's see.
If I was his girlfriend, I'd be all like, I don't want to see you making any more fucking pirate movies.
He got married at least, but I believe that
Wait,
was
who's he married to?
Amber Heard.
His longtime girlfriend, isn't it?
No fucking way.
No.
They finally got hitched.
Right after they separated, and because he has violent mood swings. She didn't say he's abusive. He's just like he's falling apart at the moment, and it's kind of sad to watch.
Okay, let's see. I liked the Rum,
Vacation.
I liked the Rum Diary. That was a good one.
Yeah. Mordecai bombed at the box office.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything good on that. I haven't heard anything good on The Lone Ranger. I haven't heard anything good on Transcendence. I haven't heard anything good of Into the Woods, Black Mass.
Transcendence went straight to DVD, by the way, I believe. Or at least that's what it seemed like, because I saw the trailer for it one day in the theater, and then the next day I saw it.
Yeah, I heard dick all about that.
For which one?
Transcendence.
I actually saw that. I liked it.
Was
Really?
it did you see it in theater, or did you see it at home?
I saw it at home.
Okay.
But he implants his consciousness into a computer, and it's not. I can understand why it didn't do well at the theaters, but it's a pretty decent movie.
Hang on, I'm trying to figure out if that's kind of what I was asking. Did it make it into
Dude,
theaters?
it has a killer cast too.
Oh,
Yeah.
it did make it into theaters because it made 103 million.
Yeah.
On a 100 million budget.
Yeah.
Oh, almost fooled myself.
He
Yeah,
was
I
in
didn't even hear about that.
He was in an episode of Family Guy.
Yep.
That may be the best thing he's done since.
Dark Shadows. Which I don't understand why that movie was even made.
It was a family movie.
Yeah, but it's there is something about Tim Burton that the last, like, I don't know, dozen or so movies that he's made have been remakes of something else.
Yeah.
There's something about Tim Burton where the last 15 or so movies he's made have been the exact same aesthetic
Let's
style.
see. The
They've all
Sweeney
been that way.
the Sweeney Todd movie, the Demon Barber or whatever, that was decent.
From
I like
2007.
Yeah, but look, he's doing Beetlejuice 2, which is his own property, so he's making a sequel of it. He's doing Alice Through the Looking Glass, which Alice in Wonderland, not his thing. Big Eyes, okay, that's an original thing. Wait, what?
No, he's not actually directing Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Yeah.
No, he was a producer.
Sorry. So he's directing Beetlejuice 2. He directed Big Eyes, which I think was original. Frankenweenie, which is a remake of his own.
That was actually pretty cute.
Dark Shadows, which is a remake. Alice in Wonderland, which is a remake. Sweeney Todd, which is a remake. Corpse Bride is original. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is a remake.
Fucking shout out to Diabetes.
Big Fish was original. Planet of the Apes was a remake. Sleepy Hollow was a remake. He does a lot of remakes. Batman is a remake of sorts. So
Batman's been done, and Batman's always going to be a remake.
yeah, and he did a really good job with it. Don't get me wrong, but like a lot of his stuff, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, a lot of his stuff is non-original stuff. It's somebody else's material that he's rehashing, which because he's done stuff like Edward Scissorhands and even Sleepy Hollow. I love Sleepy Hollow, but it's like Ed Wood. Okay, I'll give you that. Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice. These are like really, really good things, but it's like for some reason, even though he's really creative, he's kind of not really creative.
Have you heard about his attempt at a Superman movie?
Yes. With Nicolas Cage.
With Nick Cage.
A movie written by Kevin Smith that was never realized, and you guys need. Google, like, go on YouTube and just type in Kevin Smith, Tim Burton. He's going to tell you the whole story about how he wrote the movie and how it fell apart and how it kind of really soured each writer and each
No,
of them
no,
to
I've
each other.
I've 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 heard the story,
Yeah.
and producer, one of the producers on that was Barbra Streisand's hairdresser. He didn't want Superman in the Superman suit. He didn't want a cape, and he didn't want him flying. And he wanted him to battle a giant spider.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I watched that.
he's the same guy. Well, you did, because he's the same guy who produced Wild Wild West with the Fresh Prince
That's
of Bel-Air.
fucking right. Yeah.
And remember at the very end, giant spider.
Yep. Because he really wanted to see a giant spider.
Yeah.
That made absolutely no sense.
Which my favorite part of that whole story is when he's talking to the other producers, and they're like, "Yeah, did he tell you about the giant spider?" And they're like, "I know, right? What's up with that?"
Just so weird.
Yeah. But there are actual pictures of Nicolas Cage in the Superman outfit.
Oh, there's a documentary.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I gotta watch that.
About
But
the
yeah,
whole failed thing.
it's an all black suit with a silver S. Like they came up with that suit after he died. They changed his suit, and then they changed it back to the original one. But yeah, it's the all black suit. There's no cape. It's quite a disaster.
Yeah.
But they thought, oh yeah, we can do that with Batman. We can totally do that with Superman. But no, you can't.
Again, I'm even with the Superman movies that I'm getting now. I have my defeatist attitude that I'll take what I can get. But
Well, let's hope that the new Batman versus Superman is, at least decent, is at least true to the characters and the story that they're basing this on.
God, I hope it's good.
I really do too. Just the absolute irony, the absolute cosmic irony that both comic book franchises started fielding movies, and Marvel is the lighter and funnier tone, while DC is the grittier, darker series. That is just so weird.
Well, what was I watching? Oh, we were watching, Judge Dredd, and Judge Dredd's a DC product, and
Okay.
it's like Marvel watched DC back in the 90s, basically the 80s and 90s, to see what they were doing. Marvel hung back, and they just did movies whenever they fucking had to, and learned from DC's mistakes. And they came out, and they're doing fucking awesome. And I think right now, that's exactly what's going on. Is that they saw, Judge Dredd come out, this kind of secondary character that DC owns, and it's not even under the DC name because it's so dark and gritty. It's under a different book name, but it's owned by DC. And it's like they saw them come out with these secondary characters and not do so well with them. So when Marvel did it, they really kind of thought about it and really planned it. And it's like the whole thing really starts with Marvel's introduction into the cinema world really starts with Blade. And Blade, the first Blade, was a really good movie and really well done, and everything that a comic book movie should have been. Like the other two weren't as good, but that first one really kind of, I think, gave Marvel some confidence to go out and start making these other films.
That's actually my favorite vampire movie in general, by the way.
Blade?
Yeah.
Oh, Blade is just a marvelous movie. It's just everything about it. The visual, the music cues. Even though it gets to the point where it's like, oh, there's a bad guy on screen, cue the techno. It's still kind of brilliant how they do it. And it's like everything about that was really well thought out. And then the second movie, you're like, okay, there are some things that are pretty good about this. And then the third movie just really kind of blows chunks. That's the one with Ryan Reynolds. And it seems like Ryan Reynolds is kind of a death sentence to comic book movies, so maybe Daredevil isn't going to be good.
Deadpool.
I'm sorry, maybe Deadpool's not going to be good. I keep doing that.
Yeah, I know, and it's funny.
Stupid characters with the same first letter of their names.
Wow. Fucking grown-ass man.
But it's like maybe Ryan Reynolds is a death sentence to all these characters. Like, Blade...
No, Green Lantern was just a shitty movie.
Green Lantern? Yeah, it was a shitty movie, but Ryan Reynolds shouldn't have been the Green Lantern.
Yeah,
And
he really shouldn't have. If he was going to be a DC character, he should have been the Flash.
he should have been. They in reality, DC should have used the John Stewart Green Lantern because that's what the kids know. He's in all
Yeah.
the cartoons.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Renier, I think, is the current Green Lantern. I'm sure I'm wrong on that. I haven't really kept up with Green Lantern, but it's like John Stewart's the one they know. He was the one in the Justice League. He was.
I've always thought you could just throw all of them out there. I've always thought of them as more of a cop drama with a little bit of comedy in there. So why not have all of them there? You know?
You could do that. I mean, personally, myself, I want to see them do something with Guy Gardner. I would love to see a Guy Gardner.
Why not have them there, like all of them together? It just makes it that much funnier when Guy Gardner has like really serious John Stewart to play off of.
Actually, that would be hilarious.
Exactly, right?
That would actually be. I don't know if it would be a smart way to go, but it would be an entertaining way to go.
It definitely would be.
Fair enough.
That's going to be my argument for the rest of time now.
Just gonna
Yeah.
burp.
Yes. So I guess the new X-Men movie is X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, people are already really, really hating the look of Apocalypse in that movie.
It looks like he's just wearing a black mask. Basically, he looks like the Black Mask from the Batman franchise, which is basically a guy who looks like he's like the Red Skull, except it's black instead of red.
Are we talking about have you seen the whole body costume?
No, I'm just looking at the poster here, and it's just a black mask.
Okay, Google because it's in like USA Today or something. The whole looks there, and people are not crazy about it. Honestly, to me, he looks like Ivan Ooze from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movies back in the '90s.
First off, I love that movie. Secondly, probably not a good look for the X-Men.
Yeah, go ahead, Google it. People are really upset about it. Apocalypse, X-Men.
X-Men Apocalypse movie. Actually, oh, I see. That must have been like a silhouette because he actually kind of looks like the Joker, except gray and blue instead of white, red, and green. Because his lips, they go up into his ear, and that's kind of like how like the Crow's kind of makeup went. That's just kind of dumb looking.
I don't think we're looking at the same thing. In it, he's purple.
Maybe you should just send it to him so he knows what you're looking at.
Yeah, here. Let me find it first.
There you go.
Because I have X-Men Apocalypse movie. Go
Mm,
back to the web.
hang on. I go to a website called Newsarama for all my stuff anyway. So.
Dog.
News O-Rama or A-Rama?
A-Rama.
A-Rama. .com.
I'll find it and send it to you. But yeah, people are not happy. Like they're making a big fuss about it.
Well, people make a big fuss. People made a big fuss about Michael Keaton being Batman until they actually saw him as Batman. People made a big fuss about
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger as the Joker. Thank you. And until they saw him as the Joker, I even did. I thought Brad Pitt would have done a better job. I thought he has a much better laugh. But I saw Heath Ledger as the Joker, and I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, most people would say he is the definitive screen version of that, which is weird because Once Upon a Time, Jack Nicholson, what a role, right? Like two iconic actors take it and just make it their own.
Yeah.
Like it almost transcends, it almost outshines Batman, actually.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the whole point because Batman in the costume is kind of one note, so you need a really vivacious, kind of character to be your villain. So that's why they have guys like the Joker or the Riddler or even the Penguin to some extremes. These are guys who are just very colorful, very boisterous, very avant-garde. You know, Catwoman to some extremes. I mean, one of her costumes was purple and black. You
Yeah.
know, but her as just being this kind of, you know, anti-hero kind of thing is you know, she's kind of she's colorful in the fact that you never know what she's going to do.
Yeah. I think there's a temptress or a seductress thing she's got going there that if you played with like the cat theme where she's purring and stuff like that. I think that kind of makes her like
That
more
was
than one
fucking
note.
weird. I always
And
thought that
weird.
was a little weird when she did that.
Which movie are we talking about? Oh wait, here it is. 10 more live
What?
action costumes. I found the picture. Hang on, give me 1 second to send it over to you. Hey, really does look like Ivan Ooze.
Just send it via Skype.
Yeah, hang on. Trying to even copy picture and back to Skype.
You can do it through Skype, yo.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Oh, you hit the little
That's-
plus button on the bottom.
I've got like a few different things going on my screen right now.
All that porno you're watching.
Yep.
Like you're not watching it all, Mr. Mario.
What? No, I'm doing it on my phone.
Where it belongs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna bring that filth to my computer.
No, of course not, because my phone can't get a virus.
No, it can. I'm pretty sure it's got a really gross one too. So, how's that link coming, Jamal?
It sucks because now I have to save it onto my computer before I can send it to you.
Oh, you don't?
No, I just tried it right now. It's actually asking me for the file name.
You know, you can text through Skype.
Hang on.
There's like a little bubble
I
thing.
don't know. I'll just let it happen.
No, he did it. Here.
Okay, there we go.
No. See, now I have to save it to my computer before I can look at it.
Yeah, seriously, what the hell? You suck, Jamal.
And now I have
Just
to
save it to your damn computer.
No,
I-
fuck
I-
off.
now I have to find where it saved it to my computer.
Desktop.
Documents.
It just automatically did it. Let's see if it's in.
Oh my god.
No.
Wait, who's this an image of again?
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
Mario, you douche. You said to press the plus button at the bottom. I could have just sent the message to you.
I told you.
No, you said the plus button at the bottom. That's why I said send files. Oh my god.
Wait, you actually listened to me?
Ugh. How about now?
How about now?
Well, that
Click
works.
mine.
That's
Click
much better.
mine.
Got it?
Yeah.
Right.
Is that supposed to be Storm with the mohawk?
Yeah.
I think that's Psylocke. Oh no, Psylocke is Livia Munn. Yeah, I think that's Storm.
Psylocke's on the right. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that's not Halle Berry, is it?
No, it's Grimace.
Are you guys seeing the list, right? Click on the actual link to the list of like the worst costumes, and he's like the first thing on there.
I don't see a list. Come on, do it again. Come on, send it. Do it.
Let me send you the link to the actual thing.
Do it, brown man.
Oh, I see.
You know you're brown too, right?
That's why he can say that.
Yeah, exactly. Alex can't. I can though.
I just have to say overly tan man,
Yeah.
and it doesn't sound as good.
How about now?
There we go.
Ah.
Fucking horde opened up automatically in Internet Explorer. Fuck you, Internet Explorer.
Nobody likes
Fuck,
you.
and I can't open it in any other. God damn it. I hate Windows 10. Okay.
See it?
Ooh, go away.
Last
Ivan
week
Ooze.
So he looks like Ivan Ooze.
He does a
Daredevil.
little bit, yeah.
and it's not very popular.
Beast. Hulk. I like Hulk. Not Ang Lee's Hulk. Spawn. Fuck you, List. Fuck you.
Oh, that Spawn costume was pretty bad.
By the way, this website has a bunch of these lists. It's pretty cool.
I gotta say, the Daredevil costume in that picture looks pretty bad, but on the actual show, it looked badass.
No, this is from a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
This is from
Holy
the
shit.
This is from
No,
the
no, no.
80s Hulk
No,
series.
Guys, go to number 1. Number 1 is fucking beautiful.
Well, hold on a second. I just got the Hulk
Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
I know.
with nipples.
Uh-huh.
No, not the nipple one. Keep going.
No. This is
even worse. This is even worse. Go see it yourself.
Oh, give me a second. Thing.
Oh.
Green Lantern.
I didn't mind the Thing, by the way. I like practical effects.
I
love the Thing.
I love the fact that Deadpool makes fun of the Green Lantern costume in the preview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Halle Berry Catwoman costume. I mean, I don't see it as an actual official Marvel, Catwoman, but
DC.
Or DC Catwoman, but yeah, I like her in that outfit.
Oh, because you get to see a whole lot of Halle Berry.
That's back when she looked really good too.
Yeah.
Now she only looks, kind of good.
Yeah, that surely was fuckable, and that's about it.
Well, she's still fuckable. Yeah, that's the nipple Batman.
Yep.
With the cod piece.
With the solid stainless steel cod pieces and whatever the hell those are on his thighs. What the hell are those? Like they serve no purpose whatsoever.
Frostbite.
They're not even like bat symbols either. They're literally like somebody just scribbled on his thighs.
So what it really looks like is that he jumped out of Batmobile too fast and just happened to scrape some paint off in that pattern.
Oh my
God. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing about that particular Batman movie that was good, other than the obligatory ass shot that Silverstone's body double did for the show.
I do have one redeeming quality in that film.
You have a redeeming quality, or the movie has
I find one redeeming quality in that film. Like the mark of a decent actor, a good actor, is to know when to go over the top. Schwarzenegger did it.
Oh, he did a fantastic job in that film.
Like I'm not necessarily saying that the performance itself was great, but it's like he knows exactly what he's doing there and what he's supposed to be doing and what the goal was.
You're absolutely right. For what the role was, for what that movie was, he did exactly what he should have done.
Yeah.
And basically, it was an extension of that old '60s campy TV show.
Yeah.
And they never did a Mr. Freeze on that TV show, but had they done that, it would have been what Schwarzenegger did in that movie.
Yeah. And so at the very least, it tells you that he's a very intelligent movie star, maybe not actor, but movie star, so that he knew what exactly he was what notes he was supposed to be aiming for.
Oh, definitely.
No,
he did a great job.
I will concede that Arnold Schwarzenegger is very good at what he does. As far as even the mindless action movies that he does, he has really good instincts. He has really good commitment, work ethic, and he's just everything that he does for the purpose of. And he was one of the guys that they looked at for doing Judge Dredd. They actually looked at Schwarzenegger before they went to Sylvester Stallone, and I think Schwarzenegger would have been the kind of guy that would have been all like, "Oh, Judge Dredd keeps his helmet on the whole time. I'll keep my helmet on the whole time," because you're not gonna mistake the fact that that's Schwarzenegger under the helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's.
But he doesn't half-ass anything.
No, he doesn't. No, and even his attempts at doing like comedy, he goes balls to the walls for it, and whether you like it or not doesn't even matter. He does everything he can to make those jokes work. The Last Action Hero, for as crappy of a movie as that is, he really is a redeeming quality in that film. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He made that movie exactly everything he could make that. And it was brilliant, both seeing him as whatever the character is in the movie and as himself.
No, he's very self-aware and was actively parodying himself in that film.
Yeah, he did it with every bit of self-awareness and every bit of he did it without any regard to who and what he was. And the biggest enemy to comedy is an ego. And he left his ego at the door and did everything he could to make fun of every single movie that he ever did.
Yeah.
And that is a testament to what kind of actor he is.
By the way, since you guys are looking at this worst list, if you go to the top of this website, there's a search button. Do the best list. I bet you will not name who number one is.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd is number one at everything, sir.
Best superhero?
Best superhero live action costume. Just do the
Yeah.
keywords. It'll find it for you.
Best hero time travel.
Top 10 best live action superhero costumes.
Yeah.
Top 10 superhero extreme makeovers.
No, live action costumes. Go
Yeah.
live action.
I see Supergirl here, and I hope she's not number one.
No, that's a TV one, but look through that list if you want.
We're doing, there's Storm with the Mohawk. I gotta say, she's a pretty good looking woman there, whoever they got to take over for Storm. Yeah, Hellboy's outfit was pretty good.
Wait, what number is he at?
He's at number 10, I guess.
Oh, then I think I flipped the list. I thought he was number one.
No, he's
But
number.
I could see that though, because it said the direct copy, except for the eyes, direct copy from the actual.
Yeah, no, his outfit.
Actually, yeah, I'll agree with number one.
What's number one again?
Oh, don't tell me. That's fine.
Okay.
Dark Knight. I gotta say, I love the fact that when they changed the Batman outfit, they had real motivation behind it. That he wanted to be able to turn his head and look around.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that the costume in the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises had very little to no changes whatsoever. There's been very few superhero movies where the costume is the same from episode to episode.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles.
Love those movies.
The Crow. I have some issues about the Crow, but the costume was pretty decent. The 60s Batman. Okay. The Avengers. Yes, the Avengers did actually a pretty good job with those costumes.
Well, no, number one makes sense, Mario. Number one makes sense the way they
Yeah.
The Wolverine. Superman. Yeah. Iron Man, yeah. Iron Man. Okay, yeah. Iron Man is number one. Yeah, I was actually very impressed with the fact that they made it look very much like the comic book version.
Yeah.
No. This is why. Well, it looks like a comic version, which, by the way, thank God for Garth Ennis and the guy that helped him actually write that, because prior to that, the Iron Man outfit was actually tights that he would put on and somehow would magically harden as the story went on. Whereas in the movies and
it would harden.
Yeah, no. It would actually like callous or whatever. But anyway, in the movie and the book Extremist that came right before this movie came out, they finally said, took the writers aside and said, it doesn't make sense that you have a character named Iron Man and he's wearing tights. Actually put iron on him. And so they started making his suits actually made of metal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're plastic, but they look like metal.
Yeah.
But no, I was actually very happy to see that they just didn't do a black suit or something dumb like that. Because I understand that when you put something down on paper, it looks good, but when you do it in a three-dimensional world, it may not look good. And that's kind of one of the reasons why they did the bat suit in all black.
Hollywood's afraid of bright primary colors, and even to some extent. Well, if you look at the Iron Man costume right now in that picture in number one, it is kind of a muted red.
It is. It's a dark red and it's a gold instead of a yellow. But yeah. It's because Daredevil had these colors in his costume. He had a very bright yellow costume with red accents, and Hollywood doesn't do that one. They do the all red one. They do a very dark red with it too. But it's like They could have gone all black, and I understand why they did that with the Batman, because the Batman costume being blue and gray doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No, he's the Dark Knight. He's supposed to be camouflaged in the night.
Yeah, and I'm starting to really get used to the idea of them not having the underwear on the outside of their outfits.
Yeah.
Like the Superman outfit.
No, I've been waiting for that for quite some time, actually.
Yeah. No, well, it's a throwback to like the whole Greek god look, like because basically they had like a diaper on, but
Yeah.
it's they the chiseled Greek statue like look, and that's why they went with the underwear on the outside of their pants. But it's the new Superman costume that's all blue looks really good. I'm really starting to get used to that. And I was at a toy store over the weekend, the one in the mall. Yeah, and
Oh, yeah, I know that store, Toys Inc., right?
yeah, Toy Sync. And I was looking at some of the action figures they had for the Batman, and they had it without the underwear on the outside of his pants, and it's like it looked really good. I'm really starting to get used to that, and I'm starting to see it as a more logical approach to the costume. It's like
By
it
the
doesn't.
way, if
Okay.
if you want, you're looking at the top 10 live action movie ones. If you want to see just how bad quality shifts from big screen to small, go back out to that search and you'll find the top 10 live action TV ones and look at their list and compare it to the first one. Like quality drops significantly.
Yeah, but there's a little when you're dealing with a screen that's what at best 60 inches compared to a screen that's like 10 foot. Yeah, you have to be a little bit more quality with the 10-foot screen.
Well, yeah, well, and I think it's a budget thing. You'll see when
There's
you read
that.
through that
Yeah.
list. When you read through the list.
10 best comic book live action TV series.
Yeah,
Right.
costumes.
Yeah. Oh no, wait, that's the TV series. I didn't look at the.
Cool.
You find it?
Hold on a second.
Yeah, the actual name of the list is 10 best comic book live action TV series. Hang on. Oh no, wait. I think it's just that. It's not even giving me the costume anymore. Never mind. It's just that one. But take a look at the costumes anyway. They're terrible.
Of the 10 best live action TV series.
Yeah.
See, we got the Daredevil. I didn't like the look of the Daredevil costume at the end. I hope they redo that.
I still prefer the Ben Affleck one.
I do too. I think
Yeah.
it was a more logical
Yeah.
suit. It was just done as leather. It looked like a leather biker suit, sure,
No,
but
it looked like no. What I loved about it is you could see there was an actual suit that somebody had to put on. It's not the Superman of Steel,
yeah.
where it looks like they molded rubber onto him.
Yeah. Wonder Woman, the old Adventures of Superman with Christopher Reeves. No, not Christopher Reeves. What's his name?
George Reeves.
George
George
Reeves. George Reeves, yeah. The Flash. I did like the 1990s Flash costume. I thought that looked really, really good.
And just this list is the shows in themselves is a real drop off in quality.
I've never heard of The Middleman. ABC's
It
Family?
it was on for like 13 episodes or whatever.
I want to have to look that up. The new Flash. His costume is. I don't like his mask. I think that's.
No, as a ranking of the show, it's already up there.
Yeah.
One season in.
Yeah.
So that's a kudos to it.
Batman from the 60s.
Love it.
The Incredible Hulk from the 60s, from the 70s.
See, there you go with the dropping of quality.
Smallville.
Yeah, Smallville was alright.
Yeah, it was alright.
Arrow.
Arrow is desperately trying to be Batman.
I'm kind of on the fence about his costume. His show is a little more soap opera than I would like to have seen.
He has a new costume, by the way.
Does he? I haven't seen like the third season yet.
It's basically that with a mask and sleeveless.
I've seen the mask. The Flash gave him the mask.
Yeah.
And then what's number one? The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a comic book, isn't it? I
Yeah.
forget that.
Oh man, that's way of life.
Alright.
I'm starting to think that maybe, as much as I like seeing, why I like the fact that that Arrow and the Flash are on CW and they have to be 24 episodes long. That just gives them an excuse to cram as much, other stuff from those comic books in there as they want. So you get things like the Atom showing up in the Arrow. Like you get all those other characters portrayed on film that finally in live action. If you're a comic book fan and you finally see them in live action, that is so cool. But I'm really starting to think that the Daredevil way of going with only 12 episodes a year and really condensing down a story is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the other Marvel TV shows that are gonna hit Netflix in the next couple months.
But for instance, even then, like the Daredevil one, they introduce things from other comic books or other characters, but not a whole lot. Whereas in Arrow and Flash, it's like every other episode, like a big name shows up. For
Yeah.
instance, a new superhero shows up, and that's so cool. But dramatic wise and story wise, 12 episodes, Netflix style or AMC style is probably the way to go.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You guys should visit this site more often. It's where I get all my headlines from.
All right. Well, I think we should probably wrap this up here.
In closing, both Judge Dredds are great. They're entertaining. Maybe not great, but they're entertaining, and they're a lot of
It's
fun
entertaining,
to watch.
yeah.
They're a lot of fun. They're both fun.
There is one thing that Judge Dredd did that bothers me, and the X-Men did this too. Everybody who does anything with the Statue of Liberty gets the scale of the Statue of Liberty wrong.
Okay.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the secret laboratory for Judge Dredd was in the head of the Statue of Liberty, and the Statue of Liberty's head is actually like probably 3 times, 5 times as big as they ever portrayed on TV or in the movies, and that it just bothers me that they do that.
Yeah, because it's a little guy.
Yeah, it's like, and X-Men did that too. It's like those windows that you see on the Statue of Liberty, and I know it's hard to get scale at when you're looking up at a statue that big, but those windows are like what, 15 foot tall
Yeah, something like that.
in the crown alone, and so like yeah, they make it look like the head is like maybe 12 foot tall altogether. So like yeah, but yes, they are both entertaining. There is some value to Judge Dredd. I mean, it was a good attempt, and with
It's
the
a
fact
fun 90s movie.
it is, I think if you want a movie in the 90s by by Sylvester Stallone, I think Demolition Man is a better movie. But Judge Dredd did have some. I liked the uniform that they had without the shoulder pieces on it.
I actually really like the uniform in Dread. I like how they kind of kept it grounded in reality and made it look like a SWAT suit.
Yeah, the Dredd uniform in all its regale is nice, but the Judge Dredd uniform with those huge shoulder pieces and the cod piece and the boots, it made him look like he was going to a rave. But
Yeah.
if you take all that off and you just
He
have
looked like a disco star to me.
kind of
But it was, they were going to literal translation from the comic book.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you just go with that tunic that he had, that double-breasted tunic, and if you just give it like a little bit looser of a pants, I think that's a really cool outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, I mean, like both movies are entertaining. They both have.
They're both entertaining, but they're both had potential for more that they just didn't get. But they're a fun ride to watch.
The thing about the Dredd movie is that even though it didn't do well at the box office as well as they had hoped,
Yeah.
it does have a bit of a cult following to it, and they
Yeah.
have started a petition. If I can find it, I'll put it on the website for this episode. They're trying to get a petition going so they can do a sequel to it.
I would see it in theater this time.
Yeah, I would go see that.
Yeah, if and Carl Urban is on board. He has done some videos about it. He loves that the fans love the film, and he encourages them to sign the petition. So, if I can find that, I will definitely put that on the thing. and hopefully they'll do a sequel to it.
Hmm.
I would
I'd
love to see.
watch. Yeah, I'd watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the only thing they can do is go up from here. It's like they left all the character backstory kind of absent, so they can do. This was actually a really good film because they didn't do an origin story of Judge Dredd. They just put him in the middle of the action, so they
Yeah.
can actually do an origin story now for Judge Dredd.
Well,
And,
that's what
and
Judge Dredd with Stallone was. But
it kind of was, but this is a reboot and it's
yeah.
different. But the fact is that they did a superhero movie that wasn't an origin story, which I think is brilliant in and of itself. They just assume that they do a little bit of narration at the beginning, at the end to set up what's going on. And I dislike when they have to do narration like that because I think they can do it. You can always do it in some sort of conversation with the character. And some of the stuff that they did in conversation that was expositional felt a little like, okay, here's the exposition. But they all they did for an origin was a little bit of narration at the beginning, and I thought that was kind of cool that we just got into the action. Like I said, there was nothing there that didn't need to be there, and I think if all these guys got together and did a sequel, I think like I said, all they have to do is go up from there. The end.
Yes. Good end, buddy. Good end.
Okay, but
ultimately, our three opinions do not matter. You know whose opinions matter? You, the viewers and the listeners. So post a comment, leave a comment. Where can you do that?
I'm actually a listener of the show, so I guess even though my opinion doesn't count, it also counts.
Okay.
But they can go over to mof.ninja, where they can see show notes, they can see links to the movies we talk about, and they can see the list that Mario and I have put up of movies that we have watched. Which, by the way, Mario and I have discussed this, and we thought that a good topic of a movie list for you, Jamaal, would be like the quintessential action films, like the action films people really need to see.
Ooh, okay.
So, if that appeals to you, why don't you make that list?
A must-see of action films. All right, I'll give that some thought.
Yeah.
Not Fight in My Room. Thank you.
That's the name of one of the movies.
Join the makers each week as they discuss film, TV, and pop culture. To learn more about them, go to mof.ninja. This is Michael Caine saying goodbye.